Whenever people talk about retargeting, usually one of two things happen. So either they assume that you're a super expert and do not explain half of the things that need to take place for you to set up proper retargeting audiences, or they send you a whole list of requirements and coding and stuff to get it done. I'm Feli, I'm part of the Plai team, and we're gonna be covering retargeting in a few easy steps. Okay, so the first thing that you should be doing is logging into Plai, and from here heading over to the meta launcher because it's the most popular platform right now. And what you'll see, of course, you'll be greeted by the typical prompt to generate your campaign area. We're gonna go directly into the targeting area and ignore all the things that were automatically generated for us. In here, you'll find three areas, right? Target interests, lookalike audiences, and retargeting. The first section, targeting interests, actually will be made for you by the AI simply by prompting. You can also do AI targeting if you want, which basically refines your targeting over time based on user interactions, so it starts really broad and it kind of optimizes over time. And of course, you can do your own custom interest setup in here. Now, what we're gonna be focusing now is on the retargeting and lookalike areas. The difference between these two is that retargeting is basically telling Meta or any platform, go look for this specific list of users that have already interacted with my brand or given me their contact details or landed on my website, stuff like that. The lookalike audience is actually telling Meta, go look for users which are similar to the ones that I've already created in the retargeting tab. So always to generate a lookalike audience, that you can do that from here, from this tab from Plai, you need to first create the retargeting audience, because this one will be the base for your lookalike audience. Now, yeah, we can get started with the actual retargeting stuff. Usually when people talk about retargeting, they mean website audiences, meaning people who have landed on your website after clicking one of your campaigns. That option does require you installing a pixel on your website for Meta to be able to detect the actions that that user takes on your site. But that's not the only option you have for audience generation, and that's the exciting part we're gonna cover today. Other options for setting up retargeting are people who engaged with your Facebook or Instagram account, and that is a one-click setup. All you need to do is tap on it, and it will actually look for those users who have been interacting in the past year with your Facebook or Instagram content. Another really popular option is the video engagement audience. This one is basically for retargeting people who have watched a certain amount of playtime of your video. So if you have been launching campaigns which have videos on them, you can actually come here and say, okay, I want to retarget people who have watched 25 or 50 or 75% of your video, or there are other options as well. And in this way, you can make sure that they have reached a certain amount of engagement and interest with your content, and basically redirect them again to a new ad, a new campaign, and take them to maybe a special offer, maybe a different landing page, depending on what you want to promote. You have this button over here to select the actual videos from the ads that you have been previously launching that you want to use for this retargeting audience. In my case, I haven't been launching video ads, but that's where you'll find them. And then here you can raise or modify basically the audience retention. You have a top audience retention time of 365 days because all temporal data used for audiences basically expires, and that is so because of loss basically. So there is always a limit on for how long you can store the temporal data of these users. In this case, we can raise it up to 365 or to 180 days, depending on how fresh you want the audience to be. Usually leaving it in 180 days should be perfectly fine. You can give it any name that you want, and then you tap on create audience and you'll have that retargeting audience populate right here for you to use it. Then there is the lead form audience, which is also a really powerful one, because you must keep in mind that your best leads are probably people who have already interacted with your brand. And in this case, you can select people who simply opened the form, who didn't submit it, or who even submitted the form. So you can look for a whole bunch of people. Maybe you did a newsletter lead form kind of sign up. And from there you can retarget them to a new offer. You select your page that you want to use, you select the lead form that you want to use for this as well, you give it a name and you create the audience. It's just in a few clicks. And then from here you'll be able to select all of the audiences, mix up different sources, and retarget them all in one same campaign. Now the two options left are uploading a list of customers, but for that of course you need to have a list of existing customers. You'll find the formatting guidelines and a sample CSV to guide you with the generation of these, but remember you want to have at least 500 people, probably closer to 1,000 people prior to launching this sort of retargeting audiences. And then of course the pixel audience that we mentioned previously. So this one, again, it does require coding, but if you do have a pixel, you can actually set it to, for example, have an audience of people who visited your thank you page. And with that, you can retarget the purchasers of your product for a specific Black Friday offer or whatever you want to launch. That is all regarding retargeting, but remember that in the lookalike audience tab, you'll be able to create a lookalike with the audiences that you have previously generated in the retargeting tab. And once you have created a retargeting audience, you'll also be able to exclude it from your campaigns regardless of which option you're launching campaigns in. So you can say, okay, I only want to reach out to new potential users. You can exclude your previous engagers with your page and just do related targeting. And in that way, you make absolutely sure that the people who have already interacted with your brand are not receiving your ads. Okay, so that's all for today. So remember to reach out to us at getsupport@plai.app if you got any further questions. And also leave in the comments what you would like to see more of, and we'll work on building that next. Until then, and have a great week.